Hey traders, David Frost, My Strategic Forecast. You're here for another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis. Today is Wednesday, May 22, 2024. We're looking at a daily chart of the SPY or Spider, which is the proxy for the S&P 500. What do we have on that docket today? We're going to start at the bigger picture and then we're going to drill down because not everything is as it seems from the daily chart. Nevertheless, all things considered, today was still a very quiet, narrow-ranging day, little activity in the afternoon. We'll get to that later. However, what they're ultimately doing is still, from a daily chart perspective, eating time off the clock underneath the trend line. Now, as we're making this video, NVIDIA is going to report earnings, and that's going to have an impact on whether the market's going to shoot up a little bit or pull back a little bit more than it tried to today. We'll try and catch NVIDIA if they report earnings while I'm recording and I can think about it. Net, no change on the daily chart. At the end of the day, we had an SPX that was down 14 points. Okay, fair enough. It's about 1/4 of 1%. $1.50 on the Spider. That's from yesterday's close, but they still are eating time off the clock from a bigger picture perspective. When you look at the weekly chart, you say, well, they're headed towards this trend line. At least that's what I say. Doesn't mean they have to stop there at this point. The more time they eat off the clock, we talked about this a few times, the less likely that this is the actual destination right now. Might be higher. You look back in several weeks and you say, oh, look, they found resistance at the trend line. They spiked it up by a little bit and then they finally pulled back. That's completely normal stuff. In the heat of the moment, looks like it's wrong until it's not. Remember something very, very important. I need you to get out your sticky notes. Whether it's tomorrow or beyond, they're coming back at a minimum to run a test of 524.61. Get below, stay below on daily closes. We've got something different to talk about. That's not the bull case, but the developing, if they do that, bear case. Keep an eye on 524.61. Write it down on the sticky note. By the way, as it relates to NVIDIA, and why don't we bring up the chart? What if they drop them? So I've got a zone between 875 and 850, 851. And if they pop them, where are they going? They're going up over 1,000. It's pretty easy to understand that. Just so you understand, I'm not putting this stuff up on the board and I've already known what the release is, where the stock is. I'm not doing that. This is the after hours quote. This is back to the regular session, back to after hours. They haven't moved yet. They haven't released earnings yet. We're going to see what happens. 875 to 851 on the downside. A spike above 1,000 is pretty obvious garden variety stuff on the upside. By the way, anybody find any bears out there in NVIDIA? I was looking hard today. Couldn't find any. Everybody they paraded across TV seemed to be in the bullish camp. They're going to expand earnings. They're going to sell more stuff. People are buying more stuff. They're just the beginning. It's all about AI. It's yada, yada, yada. I've read this book before. Doesn't mean it's going down. Doesn't mean it's going up. When you can't find any bears whatsoever, be wary of the upside. That's what I have to say. Let's switch over to how'd we do today inside the numbers and in the live room. For a quiet day, I think in the end, all things considered, and you'll see what I'm discussing in a moment, all things considered, we had a pretty darn good day. Check this out. This is a live room only trade. It was in real time. We had Zim Integrated Shipping, 1710. They came to 1711, had a rocket ride back in the other direction. That counts. We're splitting hairs over pennies. The numbers work. Real-time trade. We had participation in the live trading room. Doesn't matter. It's a quiet day. We can generally find stuff moving. Here's another one we had. Garmin getting a haircut at the open. Live room only trade in real time after the open. We brought it up, did the figures. 161.10 was the number. And guess what? Low of day, 161.10. Funny how that works. They gave you a trade out of it. Participation in the live room, 161.10. It's a give or take. They hit it on the nuts. Here was today's number for NVIDIA, from a live trading room intraday day trade scalp trade perspective. 937.25. How you doing? How do you like dem apples? Earnings still not out yet, still trading around 950 as I speak. But this one, Garmin and Zim, were live room only trades, things that came up after the opening bell. There's value in the live room for sure. So what about inside the numbers and the live room? What about combined? Did we have any spider trades, any S&P trades? Did we have the numbers before the bell? Yes, we did. Check this out. You can pause the video, read the notes, and I urge you to double check the work. 5:30.20 today is the pivot. This is on the board before the sun comes up. Note this one too, 5:28.70. Here's 5:30.20. You could see what happened. They came into it. This was right at the tail end of the morning session. Right going into lunchtime, they hit it. They ricocheted right off of it. They gave you the trade. We try and hold a trailer, but if they come back down, we've got a profit in our pocket. And guess what? We don't let the rest go bad on us. Therefore, it turns into a risk-free, emotionless trade. Keep that in front of mind for a little bit later. Remember, 5:28.70, unfinished business. Another afternoon trade. They went below later, but came right back above it. But this was the trade right here. Gave you about 8 S&P handles. Our goal is 5 to 7 minimum base hit, and we see if we can ride it for more. We got that. We couldn't ride it for more on this particular trade if you were in the trade, but nevertheless, it was ultimately support on the day, provided before the sun came up. Live trading room, inside the numbers. We all have these numbers right before the day gets started. I should say long before the day gets started, but throughout the day, these are reinforced. What I urge you to do is read the notes because they're all reinforced in here. We call it 5:30.20. Looking for support. 5:30.20. That's still at 9 o'clock. Read the notes. Go back to the chart and double check the work. It was really slow, but we never got off of the thing. And there's your 5:30.20. Along with a funny how that works. We'll take a look at a couple stocks on the move. Lululemon didn't get there to the entry target, but we'll look at FCX and TGT. First, let's take a look at NVIDIA. We've got the $1,000, so they went down first just a little bit, and then they ripped it back up in the other direction. The high so far is $997.92. They'll likely get to 1,000, whether it's after hours today, tomorrow. It doesn't really make any difference. The $1,000 is plus or take, but that's what they were going to do if they popped it in the northern direction, and here they are. Doesn't mean they'll be there in the morning. We don't know what's going to happen, but if they went up, the objective was always going to be a spike above 1,000. Let's move over to the Lazy Swing Trader Automagical Algo System. We have JETS. Now, the market, mind you, was floating up for the last several days or more. We had a short trade in JETS at 21.37. They hit it on the nuts. The first profit target was 20.52. Puts a risk-free, emotionless trade in our pocket, and now we hold the remaining portion of the position for more. Lazy Swing Trader Automagical Algo System. Trade alert via text, email, watch list. You know what's coming. There's an open trade list, and then there's a closed trade list. It's everything you need to trade, swing trade, mind you, as a process with parameters. Another profit, Lazy Swing Trader. And here's even another one yet. We had KB Home, KBH, short entry at 73, first profit target at 69.45, now a risk-free, emotionless trade. Same routine. Another profit in the pocket. Base hits put you where? In the Hall of Fame. And I still have hope for Pete Rose. Short trades work, long trades work. Lamb Weston Holdings, LW, was a long trade. Swing trade alert issued at 79.29. Profit target today, 87.92. How you doing? It was already a risk-free, emotionless trade. 3 profit targets hit today for the Lazy Swing Trader Automagical Algo System. Camp IWM, my favorite market leading indicator, came down a little bit today, about 0.8%. Not a tremendous deal, but leading indicator, leading the market in the southern direction nonetheless. We'll see if NVIDIA is going to end up staying up by tomorrow or drag the market down, and everything will likely follow suit just as a sympathetic course of business. No change from the bigger picture perspective. Above all the moving averages, the trend is your friend. You could see the weekly chart going sideways for a while, building some energy, eating some time off the clock for another push higher to the former highs. You can see the daily chart also above all the moving averages, so coming back down toward home base. The 20-period moving average, which is the red sloping trend line, not out of the ordinary, in fact, normal garden variety type stuff. There's still nothing tremendously bearish or bearish at all on any of these charts. The indices, that is. Even got a bounce today for the folks down at the transportation department after getting drummed over the last week or so. Still an outlier, still my favorite canary in the coal mine. Below all the moving averages, the trend is your friend, and it is in the bearish camp. Doesn't matter whatsoever what NVIDIA does or does not do or perceive to do to the market tomorrow or at any point in time. The transports is a real gauge / indicator of what the bigger picture is. This is telling us there's something brewing. What about the Q people? Anything wrong here? Absolutely not. What do we expect to have happen with NVIDIA tomorrow? If NVIDIA's up, the Qs will get pulled up. If NVIDIA flips around and it's one of those fake out operations, you find it down tomorrow instead of up like it is in the after hours now, then guess what? Qs will get dragged down. Qs have a same situation as the spiders. They're going to eventually pay another visit to 449.34 from above. Why? Because that is the breakout area. They already did it once, but they can certainly do it again. The reason we leave the line on the chart is because they ever get below that and start closing candles below that, that's going to be a red flag for at least the temporary bull case. Write that down, put it on a sticky note. What about the financials today? Nothing doing, down 24 cents, 0.5%. No big deal. Above all the moving averages, the trend is your friend. Markets go up, markets pull back. Market went up, pulls back, goes up. It's pulling back. Above all the moving averages, this is just a pullback. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing wrong with the financials. And if there is nothing wrong, bigger picture, with the financials, then there is likely nothing wrong with the overall structure of the market, barring minor pullbacks along the way, retracements along the way. Those are normal garden variety things the market does. Don't get sucked into the media telling you the world's ending because the market was down 1 or 2 days in a row. I'll tell you when there's trouble. At least I'll tell the folks in the live room and inside the numbers when there's trouble. Semi-space, link to NVIDIA. If NVIDIA pops, SMH pops. NVIDIA drops, SMH drops. No change, grinding up to run a test of the former high. That's what they're doing. Can they get there on the back of NVIDIA? Or do they pull the rug out? Didn't quite get to 1,000, still moving, coming back down. This is meaningless. What means something is, where are they tomorrow morning in the pre-market? Where are they tomorrow at 9:30 a.m.? What they do now doesn't really matter. And by the way, have I told you how much I appreciate each and every one of you? Without you, these videos, they're not possible. That is true and accurate information. We're pulling the ripcord here today. I'm David Frost, My Strategic Forecast. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis.